Hello everyone, welcome to another Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. I'm Will Schick, streaming from our brand new painting studio in the office, not in the laundry room anymore. Very exciting for me, and very different. So if I kind of muss around, it's a new setup. Again, I'm just playing at being a professional. I'm not actually one. I'm glad you could join me today though. I'm very excited to be painting my first spider droid. We've done a couple of different spider droids throughout Mini Stravaganza and a couple others. So it's finally my turn to paint one up. So I'm looking forward to it. If you have ideas on how you'd like to see this little cute boy painted, let me know in the chat, because I'm just here to riff and have some fun and chat about things and talk a little bit about some Legion and anything else that chat has questions about while we just hang out for an hour. So with that, I'm going to get this camera off of me by clicking this little button here. We're going to go over here, and there is our incredible little spider droid. All right. What is my shtick? My shtick today is Spider Droid. Spider Droid. Okay, so what I did here is I did do a silver undercoat. I primarily did that just to make things a little simpler on the underside, since I already had him based and I wanted to keep him on the base. But otherwise, very simple to set up and ready to go. So the first thing we have to do is just pick a color for this fella. I'm going to work a little bit on the silvers first by starting with a Vallejo black wash. And I'm just going to get some shading down on this boy, because this will take a little while to dry. And while we do that, you can feel free. The amazing spider droid. I don't know. That sounds like a different kind of stream. So pumpkin droid. Oh, we could do a pumpkin droid. That could be kind of fun. Let's give that a try. So if we're going to do that, we do the orange on the bubble, and then maybe we do some fun stuff with the legs. I don't know. We'll start with this. So I like pumpkin droid. We're going to do that. It's a little early, but hey, the spice is out, so why not? So let's knock in the legs and shade these down really quick. And we'll probably go back through and do some oranges and stuff here too, but this will be a little easier to start this way. Hope everyone's had a wonderful week so far. We're back on our new streaming schedule, so I haven't seen any of you. I haven't had a chance to hang out with you this week, so I'm excited to be here. It's a little weird doing things different. Oh, I've heard the Atomic Mass droid as well. I think that's something that definitely, maybe we'll give him a little like Atomic Mass tattoo. We'll do our pumpkin droid and give him a pumpkin birthmark or something. See how my freehand skills hold up to this new position. I don't normally paint this way, so you're witnessing me do this live with the new camera setup where it's on a stand, so I can't manipulate it quite as much as I normally do, but that's okay. We'll adapt and overcome. That's what we do. Oh, bone legs? We could maybe do bone legs. We could try that. Find a good bone color. Give a pumpkin on some bone legs. I might look weird, but I'm up for it. Let's give it a shot. Now I feel like, oh, I painted him silver because I totally expected some metallics here, and we're like walking away from metallics. And of course, I gave mine the flamethrower option because, let's be honest, if his only goal in life is to explode in pumpkin-y glory and self-destruct, then we might as well, do I want to start? Maybe. I'm going to start with a little bit of brown wash over the silver, and that will hopefully make my orange stick a little better. So, metallic pumpkin. Oh, we could try it. Oh, green vine legs. See, now we're thinking. This is why you're here, chat. Give me all of the great ideas. So we'll just quickly knock this out. Watch out for little eyeballs. We'll hit that. So if you don't, let's see, what do we have to talk about? We have all the cool Mini Stravaganza stuff. Hopefully you had fun 2 weeks ago. It feels like it was just last week. Took the week off, got everything reset, and now you'll see that we're fully in our new studio setup, which is really exciting. It's nice to be out of the house and not having to like set things up and worry about weird lighting and stuff like that. I'm excited because our new streaming schedule, we're going to be playing a game every Thursday, basically. So next week, Pagani and myself will be throwing down in a Legion battle. I have one crazy list idea that's probably going to be terrible, but I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to be running double Persuader tanks against his Kashyyyk-inspired Republic force. He's going to be pulling out, I think, one or two of the Fluttercrafts. So I can't guarantee you that it's going to be the most tactical of army lists, but they're going to be fun. They're going to be absolutely ridiculous. So, roasted pumpkin, my goodness, so much stuff. Let's see. All right, so for those asking about the X-Wing points, the dev files were just delivered to 1BK, so I would say end of the week, I think, was what was initially talked about in yesterday's stream. We're still very much on track for that. Let's do this really quick too, just because. Let's give him this quick brown wash over the flamethrower, and then we'll figure out what we want to do with the flamethrower. So they are coming, they're on their way. The files are all official. They have been submitted for approvals. It's not too long from now, so I know it's been a bit of a wait. I appreciate everyone's patience, a little bit more patience, and you'll have a brand new points update to play with. Should be pretty exciting. And I'm interested to see how the community reacts, how everyone does stuff. And he's got his little mini pumpkins that hold all of his fire. See, it's all coming together. Everything's pumpkins here. All right. Always will be Friday. All right. There. That's pretty messy, but it'll just give us a nice... Again, I'm just trying to tint that silver down so our orange will cover a little bit better. And we'll just kind of like mess around with it. Okay. Yeah, I hope everyone who did join us for Mini Extravaganza had a blast and a good time. We certainly had fun. I'm going to start with this orange here from Scale, this rusty chink in the armor orange. And then I'm also going to use, not shrapnel red, right? Maybe. Let's find some other good oranges here. Not Berheret. Boss Chestnut, no. Okay. We'll use a little bit of the shrapnel red, which is definitely like a brick color. So, all right. Yeah, Spido Lantern, that's what we're going for here. Okay, great. And then the last color I'm going to use is this Tiamat Orange, which is my brighter orange. I'll use that for highlighting and stuff as well. I'm just going to get all this stuff set up in the well palette. Maybe I won't use this because it's clogged. Not helpful. That's okay. We can do it this way. All right. Oh, God. That's a bit much, but that's okay. We'll use it all. It'll be great. All right. Let's just start mashing paint in here. I'm going to grab 2 brushes, and we're just going to kind of like start wet blending and mashing paint in. So go over this. When will then be now? Just then. What do you mean just then? Now. Classic. All right, but yeah, so double Persuaders is my plan. I'm going to load them up with some B2 crew. I say crew, but they'll be transporting a couple of B2 units, and then, you know, the jank idea here is that I'm going to take 2 units of base B1s with the Electro binoculars so they can hand out dodge tokens, and then we'll do the defensive protocols on the tanks, and they'll just kind of babysit the tanks and hand out dodge tokens to them. And hopefully that will make them nigh indestructible against Pagani's force. If nothing else, if I can make him get really frustrated and throw up his hands, then I count it as a win. Because when you play those friendly games, sometimes you just want to get their goat. And then because it just wouldn't be fun for me without some kind of monster character, I'm going to take Dooku. load him up with a bunch of force powers, and then, well, Pagani's dealing with tanks, Dooku will come up and murder him. Or, if he decides to deal with Dooku, the tanks will murder him. And either way, I'll be happy. Pretty low order count, just 7. Like I said, I don't know if it's actually going to be amazing, but I don't care. I'm going to just go in and have some fun with the new toys. That's one of the best ways to learn. Like, I have not used Persuader tanks yet in a real game, so I have ideas, and you're going to get to watch next Thursday if those ideas work or if they're just terrible. And if you already know, don't tell me, because I want to be surprised. All right, let's start working in our oranges now. Just kind of do a little bit of a wet blend here over our colors. Just kind of work this up and make our little pumpkin droid. Maybe a month early, but hey, a lot of the other holidays encroach. And September doesn't really have anything in it. So I think we can get away with it for sure. Murder will always be involved. That's really all I care about. Did we have a good time? Were things murdered? If that's the case, then it's good enough. I do know that I'm going to be very careful to remember my AI because I don't want Plumber to hand over his AI sticker to me. But I've been playing droids long enough that I don't typically forget that one. So I'm safe there. Let's get these little back pumpkins. Yeah. If you missed any of the announcements from Mini Stravaganza on any of the games, we had a good X-Wing panel where we talked about some of the changes coming to the game outside of just some of the new stuff and some new directions. So you can check that out. But bids are going away, so that will not be part of this points update. That'll be a little bit further down the line. There's going to be some new tournament and OP documents coming probably before the end of the year as well. We were just working on those. That also goes for Legion and Armada. Getting everything ready for folks. Let that dry a little bit. Well, that explains why that stuff has paint on it. Let's do this. Why not? Why the heck not? Give him his little pumpkin spice cannon. That's what it shoots now. Blazing hot pumpkin spice. Like that in a little bit. Well, the CIS have one of the biggest bases now because, oh my gosh, that Persuader base is huge, which I'm also looking forward to messing around with because I think that thing's just going to cruise across the table. Okay, let's use this greenskin flesh and we'll start working on the legs here. While we wait for our oranges to kind of dry. I'm not going to do everything in green, I don't think, but we'll do some of the stuff in green. Yeah, we'll come down like that. Come around, knock that stuff in. The flamethrower looks like it got shoved into his face. I guess I guess I kind of see that. I don't know. I think my favorite armament on the Spider Droid. Well, the flamethrower is just the best for like absolute mayhem because you got to get in close. You get in close, you get to flame a bunch of dudes, and then you can, probably activate your self-destruct protocols. And the anarchist in me just loves that because that's what I want. I want mayhem on my table. But I do think my favorite armament from the droid from an aesthetic look is still the standard, like the big old blaster cannon, the normal one that you see in all the shows and stuff. I think that one looks the coolest. But it's not as much fun. It's not as much fun. Oh my, the big spider droid? Who knows? I mean, you got that. You got the Hellfire droid. There's a couple. There's still, I mean, there's so much room to explore. We just talked about some of the things coming next year and everything, and a lot of little views into the longer term roadmap, and man, there's a lot. Nelson and I have been working with Bexley a little bit to get an understanding of how big we can get in Legion before it becomes like ridiculous. And then, of course, once we get to ridiculous, then it becomes a conversation between the game devs and everybody. Like, okay, well, how would we handle something that just breaks the scale? And those conversations are always fun because everyone has an opinion. But yeah, there's like a lot of cool stuff in all of the different factions that I really want to explore. And then that doesn't even count all of the amazing things we get to cover with the addition of the mercenaries rule and how those just open up a whole lot of potential for exploring the universe in a way that being kind of confined or restricted to big galactic army factions wouldn't really allow. Like, Shadow Collective and Pike Syndicate, Black Suns, all of those, they don't technically really fit into like the Imperial or the Separatist army structure. They kind of sit outside of it, but they do work together. And so the mercenary, rules allow for that to be kind of like indicative and shown, and that, opens up things for other stuff like armies and factions like Ewoks. We see them fight side by side with rebel troopers, but it's not like the Ewoks were getting shipped off world and fighting in all the big major fronts during the Galactic Civil War. So how do you like really implement them in a way that kind of keeps true to the roots of the Star Wars canon while also allowing people to tell cool stories in the galaxy that we all know and love, and do so in a way that feels still correct but also sandboxy? And it's a big consideration. And I think that's where the mercenary stuff really comes into its own as far as like being exciting and very cool, because it'll allow us to explore areas of the galaxy that normally would have been really hard to justify or would have felt awkward to like squeeze into just the basic 4 factions. And like, again, anything we can do to make the galaxy more bigger, that's the word. We're arting right now. We don't have to worry about words. They're all made up. It's very cool. Oh, a camera. It's a Canon something. A Canon Pro, I guess. We're just being messy. I'll be honest. Like, we're just slapping paint on and we're arting right now, as Dallas would call it. I'm not really worried about weird blends or anything like that. I'm just letting things happen. Because you can always go back and clean them up later. But because this is a spooky pumpkin-themed spider droid, we can kind of just play around with it really well. Okay, so can somebody walk me through, we talked about Ewoks, and there's definitely a segment of folks that are super excited and been waiting forever for Ewoks. Are Gungans are they the Clone Wars like prequel trilogy equivalent to Ewoks? Is that how we should stack them up against each other? They're the unlikely heroes that we all kind of like gravitate towards because they would make good stuffed animals? I feel like maybe that's why. They do have an actual military, although I would argue that, that might make them less terrifying than just a bunch of drop bears. Meat-eating drop bears. Because, like, to have an actual military, you have a civilization and, like, higher organization. The Ewoks, I mean, they had civilization, but they were mostly just driven by, basic needs, like hunger, a lot of hunger. All right. Shablam. I think we can go back to that. I'm going to go back to that orange now. Tarples. Yeah. I agree. I think the Gungan stuff was really cool and iconic. It's more just, like, I'm just wondering. I'm just, like, are the Gungans like the Ewok equivalent for the prequels? Because I can't really think of anything else that's like an unexpected, peaceful, like, quote unquote, peaceful natives rising up to fight a galactic superpower from the prequels. That doesn't, you don't really get a lot of that in any of the other movies. It's just kind of like the Gungans. So it's like it happens in reverse. If that makes sense. I'll be careful he doesn't turn out like a basketball either, but I think part of that's just going to be adding some of that texture and modeling to it. But you could do basketball droid too, I guess, if you really wanted to. Basketball spider droid. And now we're just going to start stabbing paint in there. And like I said, the tubes and stuff you can clean up later, so you can be pretty messy when you approach this kind of stuff. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Ewoks are necessarily peaceful, but they're definitely they're naturalists. They're just trying to survive. They're just eating prey. And to be fair, they didn't wind up eating them after they were shown reason. So it's not like they're, it's not like they're unreasonable. Leia was able to, stop them. From munching on her friends. Dallas is in there spouting his crazy Ewok conspiracy theories. Dangerous road here. Now we've done it. So, orange, like any brighter color, a true primary red or yellows especially, it's going to take several coats to get that color built up. And that's why undertoning like we did with the brown ink and then using a couple of different layers of oranges are going to be really helpful. I'm kind of using an overbrush technique just to like build up texture and layers here as well. Because we're trying to replicate a pumpkin to some extent, having an uneven patterning is going to help with that organic sense. And sometimes it's just best to stop and move on to the next color. All right. Let's go ahead and mix up Arfin Jade, what are you gonna look like? Ooh, pretty. Take some of this Arfin Jade. Kind of mix it in here. I'm just gonna use this kind of to, I'm just gonna use this Arfin Jade to kind of shade in some of the recesses. Again, looking for that untextured modeling. Get everything going. Everything's still pretty wet, so we're just kind of like mashing paint in and making it all work. Whoop. Get in those shadows. Build up that color. Yeah. Yeah, it's an exciting time. Like, we've been having a lot of fun just exploring the different ideas and avenues that are open now that we have, again, the Mercenaries ability and what's coming next and what we're working on. And every time you work on something, it kind of leads you to that next thing that you want to tackle. Talked a lot about this in the different mini extravaganza panels, but everything that we do is effectively like building on its additive. So you figure out something in a sculpt or something in engineering, and then you get to come back and apply that to the next thing, or it leads you to the next thing. Maybe you think something's, we can't do a persuader. It's way too big and too complex. And think of all the internal gears and how does that work? And then, the team does something else like a lat or an AA5 or whatever. And then, you learn and you adapt and you grow and you take those lessons and you apply them to the next thing. And that's how you improve and get better. And it makes it all work. But you have to take that first step. It's just like the hobby or anything else in life. You gotta start somewhere, and then you have to celebrate every success that you have, and anything that you finish is a success. Even if you're like, oh, I could do this better, or I learned this lesson, or I did this wrong. There's success in failure as well, because that's how you learn what to do next time. And a lot of the times you learn the most doing what we're doing right now, which is we came in with no plan and we latched on to something that sounded cool and fun, and now we're just making it up as we go. I didn't know, I wasn't prepared for orange painting. I would have prepped the miniature a little different probably if I was really planning to go in for orange. But the fact is that go where the art takes you, go where the inspiration takes you. And with a little bit of patience and perseverance, you can absolutely make an idea work, even if it wasn't your first idea. And again, even if it doesn't quite work the way you wanted it to, you'll learn lessons for next time. I used to be just terrified of painting like yellows and whites, and I never wanted to do it, so I always avoided those colors. But once I kind of buckled down and said, okay, well, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to mess it up a couple of times, and I'm going to learn some lessons, and it might not be as perfect as it would be if I painted like purple or magenta or blue, colors that I really like to paint because I love their saturation and their color values. I would have never improved on those skills and gotten to a place where I was really happy with all that stuff. So here we are, doing the thing. Painting green vine spider legs. It's great. Yeah, there's certain properties that use a lot of yellow, so you better get comfortable with it or start messing with other things. It's just like anything else. It's technique and then learning your style and approach to it. And it's been rewarding and fun to do that, and then kind of demystify it for others by just showing people how you do it and then saying, okay, we'll take that and make it your own, run with it. Like, sometimes you just got to mash paint on the Mini and go with the flow. It's a bit of that Bob Ross style. Like you start with a canvas and then you just say, okay, well, I have these techniques in my back pocket. I always use these techniques. Let's see what we can make up, you know? Get really good at painting mountains and then everything has mountains in it. That's okay. Because, you know, you'll just learn how to do mountains differently and, oop, mistake. Ooh, that's okay. We can fix that. Let's come in there with that darker color. There. No one will know. So there are two different leg builds for this guy, this little spider droid here. These are the other legs, and he has like more of like he's scuttling stance, so it kind of represents him in movement. And then the normal legs, which I think are the ones that everyone who's painted this guy so far has used, they definitely fit a little bit more tightly to the base because he's like braced and stuff. But I wanted to use the more scuttly legs just to show off the difference that you can get. And of course you can manipulate the legs back and forth because they're just pegs. So you can play with them a bit more. Like I built this guy because I had the base drying, because I put my sand down and everything, and then I came back and I was like, oh, well, I guess I got to figure this out. Oh yeah. His little flame tube is definitely going to be a green vine. That's just how it's got to be. So you do have play, and I think like one of the things too is if you want to play with some cork or some slate or whatever, you can build some really cool scenic basing for this guy that allows those legs to really come into their own rather than just having to always be flat-footed. I didn't quite go that far here, but it's definitely something that I would consider as well. And part of the fun about customizing your own Star Wars force, everything else. There we go. Nope. I'll get that in there. All right. Yeah, the legs. Well, so each leg, chat, is an individual part. So you can't like bend the knees or anything. That's why you get a couple of different options for legs. So you could mix and match too if you wanted to come up with something a little different. But you can turn them. So they plug in and you can like open them, close them, that kind of thing. So if you wanted these legs to be like out wider, you could pull them this way. You could make them narrower and have them come in more. So there's a lot of flexibility there in terms of how that stuff works. Okay, I'm pretty happy with where our greens are on this. It's looking pretty good. Of course, I now notice that I missed this whole side of the leg, so we'll just fix that really quick. Come in and knock that out. Some darker greens in there. Sometimes you notice that you miss things, and then you just go back and fix it. It's not the end of the world. I think maybe it'll look cool. I think the pumpkin droid has to have yellow like fire eyes, right? It's got to look like a good old jack-o'-lantern. I would think, but you know, you can tell me I'm wrong. All right, so we're just going to come in and go back to my Tiamat orange here, and I'm just going to keep doing some more upper highlight layers. Oh, and every once in a while I'm going to catch some green, and that's going to be okay. And we'll just kind of like stab in some color here. Again, just to get that like texture. Do a little stippling, why not? Once it's got to feel like a pumpkin, he's got to have that good old pumpkin-y like texture grossness. Let's give us a bit of that variation in color since the orange is really translucent. Similar to how Dallas did his crazy-eyed spider droid. He did a lot of stippling. He did that on his Persuader tank as well. Just kind of come in and hit it like this, and then we can grab some yellow probably. And the big thing's going to come in and redefine all these nice little panel lines. And I'm just going to quickly like do a quick pass to kind of clean up any of the extra paint that got stuck in them, but we will come through with like a black wash probably and reline them in dark line, because that's going to be one of the biggest ways to make everything look really good. Okay. I realize now that I should have turned on all of the studio lights, but I didn't, so whatever. It's fine. How big is the spider droid? It's on the same base as... Dallas can help me out here if he's still watching. It's on the same base as the Staps, and I believe the Droidicas are on the same base as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know the millimeter measurement of that base off the top of my head, since Legion has a fair number of different base sizes. And the Persuader is on the same base size as the AA5, I believe, so that droid tank is a big old boy. And of course, that also makes that tank real fast. Ooh. Let's kind of go back through and smooth that a little bit. That nice, texturing in now. All right. Pumpkin droid. Okay, so let's go in with a little bit of this purity white. Nope. Yep. I'm going to start with some Miskatonic gray. So Miskatonic gray, and then we'll go into purity white. I'm just going to knock out the eyeballs really quick and get them ready for our yellow. So here we're just kind of going to like roughly slap in some color. Too worried about this being too smooth. Somebody's coming in. Dallas is coming in. Oh, he's turning on the lights for me because I totally forgot. No, he's not turning on the lights. Sorry, Dallas, they're off. Oh, there you go. Yeah. I don't know if this will change anything or not. It definitely like shines in my eyes though. Did I miss some behind me too? I'm the best. See, normally I just use my studio painting lamp. Shaboom.
Do you need a lamp?
No, I'm good. I mean, this is fine. Thank you. Dallas to the rescue. Droidica is smaller. There you go. You can take 3 spider droids, since they're each one support option. But who knows what the future holds with battle forces? Another mini extravaganza thing, which we haven't even really discussed yet in too much length. But obviously one of the really exciting things about battle forces is they may change the normal force org. So you could wind up with a battle force that would say, you know, change everything. It might be like Separatist Heavy Armor Battalion, and all of a sudden you're required to take 3 support options, and you get like 0 to 2 true core options, and you know, a required 1 heavy, and you can go up to 3 heavies. Who knows? Like, sky's the limit. In terms of what could be. Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, let's jump to a little Madruk yellow. I'm gonna add this into my orange. Ah, ATRT, there you go, the ATRT base. Dallas with the save. He's actually hanging out in the studio right now, painting up some new Legion stuff. I don't know if BK would get me in trouble if I told you what he was painting. You've seen it, though. I guess I could say that. You've seen it. But yeah, so in a typical force construction, you can have 3 of the little spider droids. But I want more. I want an entire legion of spider droids just spidering around, murdering things. Mostly, I want a game to end because all of my troopers have self-destructed. Like, that to me is an achievement unlocked moment. Where you're like, well, my entire army self-destructs this turn. There's nothing but ash and sadness left on the battlefield. Good game. That seems like a story I want to tell for the rest of my life. Mix and matching some colors in here. Go back through and do a little bit. I like mixing, but we got ourselves a nice little pumpkin texture I feel like we pulled off here with our stippling and our heavy paint mashing. So we got our pumpkin droid going pretty good. I'm going to shift over and grab some of this old copper. We'll kind of use these for the, or do we just go full into the theme? Not arbuckles, that's not. What browns do I have here? No. Ooh, I can try it. There's some Bosch chestnut, right on. So we'll do each of the little pistons as like woody vine, because we might as well just go all out. Come back in here. Hit these down like wood. Oh, we got 15 minutes. We can do this. Probably can't get done, but we can get pretty close. We'll paint those feetsies brown too. It's got those nice little like wooden foot plants. There are different leg options in the box. There are 2, and then of course if you want to be like crazy mad scientist, you can mix and match the 2 different standard options. But there's these ones which I'm using here, which I believe is the first time they've been shown on stream for painting, and then there's the standard ones, which is kind of it more in like a braced firing pose. And those ones, Dallas, Simone, and I think everyone else who's painted a spider droid so far on stream have used. So you've got some options for sure. And you can pose them left or right. You can kind of like rotate them around based on what you want. So, but these like walking leg options, they do get pretty wide. So if you're going to use them and you want it to be completely on the base, you'll probably have to do some creative base modding, like give them a little rock to stand on or something like that. Add some tactical rockage for them to be clambering over, or mix and match some of the stuff. There's definitely options. Sky's the limit when it comes to your imagination. Clippers and a little bit of stuff and you'll be good to go. Yeah, I don't think I want to mess too much with that. Come in here and block these out. In our brown. Make them different. I thought about doing them with brasses, but now I'm kind of thinking like, well, it'd be neater if there wasn't any metallic on this fella, really. Make him feel right out of the pumpkin patch. I should not be using my rough stippling brush for detail work, but I'm sticking with it because I'm on a clock. There's only so much time. There we go. I believe all, well, BK is in the chat, so he can tell you, but everything should be on YouTube now, I believe, from Mini Stravaganza. So if you missed any of the great action, you should be able to go back and catch it and see all the cool things that we did and announced and talked about, because we talked about a lot of stuff. For those Imperial folks out there, I know there's a lot of excitement about new Vader changes for Commander Vader. I'm really looking forward to getting some games in with that Imperial Force that I painted up for Pagani. That was a continuation of my May Force, and now that I can feel the terrifying Commander Vader, it's going to feel so good. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. Woo! What blends some eyes? Oh no, I don't have any yellow though. There we go. Boop. Yeah. Obviously, I know that there's some really important X-Wing ships. We talked a little bit about reprints and working on stock issues and stuff like that, getting some stuff that didn't make the 1.0 to 2.0 jump back and available for folks who really want those ships to fill out their squadrons. So that should be hopefully an exciting kind of future. And obviously there's a lot of shipping and stuff going on in the world and plenty of new things also to make. But all that stuff should be pretty good. And there's our little like glowy eyes. I'm just going to add a little dot. Little dot. Boop. There. Perfect. I don't know what to do with the antenna. I kind of want to break it off, but I'm not going to. That would just be rude. I'll do a little bit of brown ink. And we'll just knock this out. We got 8 minutes left. If you have questions, please do ask. Whatever you got. I would love to be able to answer stuff. If I can. Because that's what we're here for. Brown stem. Oh gosh. Okay. Brown stem. Boop. Knock that out really quick. Oh, my brown is still good on my palette. Boop. Would a pumpkin have a brown like antenna stem? I thought they were like green. Green gray maybe. Maybe we'll add a little green to it. Maybe we'll make a little mix. Why not? It's very Bob Rossi right now. We'll have it go like green to brown. How about that? Make it muddy. There, it's not quite as green as our vine legs, but, you know, still got a little bit of that action in there. Let's kind of like model it up. There. There. Okay, so what do we have left? We got a little bit on the gun, blaster, the flamethrower thing here, so we should probably do that. I did want to really quickly go in and just get the dark lining down so that we get I'll switch my brush. So I just want a dark line between those panels really quick so we can get that nice separation of the different areas and add a little bit more contrast to our rough organic paint job here. So I'm just going to come in and hit it, and then I will clean it up with my secondary brush. Kind of blend it out. Same thing here. This is a benefit of having a couple different brushes. One I keep in my mouth. really accessible is you can just use it to really quickly blend out your nice thin colors and pull everything. And like you could do the dark lining with black if you wanted to, but I feel like that would be a little too much. But it kind of depends on if you wanted more of like a drawing. You know, you use black, it kind of comes out comic book style. But you can dark line with any color that's, you know, darker. Shocker, I know. Have I blown your mind yet? Probably not. This is very much a getting back into form. Learning the ropes stream. Let's get those eyeballs. Get back around the eyeballs. Giving him angry brows. Oh gosh. I got so excited my brush fell out of my mouth. Yeah. Now we can see he's mad. He is an angry spider droid. So we're drawing on them angry eyebrows. Back around. Just maybe do a little bit of quick shading at the bottom. Down here, down here. It's kind of going for a little bit more contrast is all I'm thinking right now, along with our dark lining. Where'd my brown ink go? A little bit more. So I want to get around here, around these little like wood panel sections that are holding pumpkins. Maybe like hit those pumpkins a little bit. His flame pumpkins. Wash that out. There we go. Color that in. Again, just go back through and blend it back out. And just playing with those contrasts, helping define those shapes. For those continuing to ask, BK has confirmed that X-Wing points will be up before the end of the week. I believe that he just said tomorrow. Yep. Tom Mass Games, it should be live by the end of the day tomorrow at the latest. So there you go. X-Wing points, for those who are still wondering, will be available tomorrow. And I'm sure all the social media posts will go up about it, so just be sure to watch any of the AMG channels that you normally watch for the information when those things go live. Whoop. Kind of blend that out just a little bit. There we go. Now what I want to do is I want to hit around those eyeballs. Careful because I'm sure that paint is still a little wet. But defining those little flame eyes will help everything just jump out and make it look more glowy as well. I'm going to come in and hit that really quick. Want to happen. It's okay. All right, so ooh. Just going to do a little bit of orange highlighting here on the barrel, and we won't quite achieve our goal of having no metallic on this fella, but I think it looks pretty good the way it is. That kind of rusty metallic into his flamethrower. I don't dislike it. I might go back and just mess with a little bit to make sure that he's completely looking like a pumpkin spider droid. But there we go, 2 o'clock. I would call this basically tabletop ready. Certainly a wild and fun ride. And we have ourselves a nice little Halloween inspired pumpkin droid with everything going on. So there you go. Look at my spider child in all his pumpkin glory. Boop. So super fun. I really love this mini. It's just kind of an open canvas to do all kinds of crazy things. Dallas did a weird, like angry-eyed, like mad spider droid and everything. So yeah, he's ready to go collect candy. And if you don't give him the treat, he's going to give you the trick of a flamethrower to the face. So with that said, I'm going to do this. And we're going to go here, and you see my brush in my mouth. I'm going to take that out. That quick rinse. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I hope that you had fun. I hope you're inspired and excited to paint your own spider droids. Maybe you'll do something as crazy as pumpkin droid. Maybe you'll do something a little more natural. But hey, if nothing else, it's always a blast to just go in and let your imagination like fly, explore some things, hang out and chat with y'all, and just come up with some wild stuff. So be sure to tune in next week for more streaming extravaganza stuffs. It's not really mini extravaganza, but I'm going to be streaming extravaganza now because we always have a good time. We also have a game stream tomorrow, so if you're curious about that, check in. It's going to be pretty fun. We're going to be playing some Crisis Protocol tomorrow, and then next week we're going to be doing some Legion gameplay stream on Thursday. That's going to be Pagani and myself. Again, he's going to be taking on Kashyyyk-inspired Galactic Republic with some Wookiees, the Fluttercrafts, and I'm going to be doing CIS, back to my home faction, with double Persuader tanks and a whole lot of like crazy nonsense. So maybe it'll go well, maybe I'll just get stomped, I don't know. But it's going to be fun either way, and we're going to have a good time. Otherwise, we will also have painting streams Tuesday, and of course we'll be back for more Star Wars painting on Wednesday. So until next time, take care, be good to each other, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye. And then I clicky the button, and the button works, and everything goes according to plan. Doot, doot, doot.